In the spring of 1950, peat workers cutting through a bog in Jutland, Denmark, struck something unexpected with their tools. A body, a man, naked, curled on his side in the dark peat, a rope still twisted around his neck. Local police were called. Police contacted an archaeologist. The archaeologist contacted Copenhagen. What they had recovered was a human body approximately 2,400 years old, preserved with such completeness by the acidic bog chemistry that the stubble along his jaw was still visible, and the ridge patterns on his fingertips were still legible, and the contents of his stomach remained intact. His name, the name given to him by the village nearest the discovery site, became Jutland Man. When forensic scientists re-examined his stomach in 2002, they found a porridge. 63 distinct plant species had been ground together and consumed as his final meal in the hours before his execution. The dominant ingredient by both mass and seed count was a wild grain harvested from a plant that grew in every cultivated field across Iron Age Europe. The same plant grows in every cultivated field across America. Today, it grows in your driveway, it grows along your foundation, it colonizes any soil that has been disturbed and not yet chemically suppressed. Your grandmother would have called it pigweed. Your great-grandmother would have known it as fat hen. Indian cooks call it bathua. Chinese cooks know it as hui kai. Mexican cooks call it quilits. It contains 15 times more calcium than spinach, 8 times more vitamin C than oranges, more iron than beef, more protein per ounce than kale. In 2009, researchers at a pharmaceutical research institute in India tested its leaf extract against human breast cancer cells in a controlled laboratory environment. The extract killed the cells. In 1947, the Scots company began selling American homeowners a chemical product specifically formulated to eliminate it. This is the story of lamb's quarters, the most nutritious plant on the North American continent, growing freely in the cracks of your pavement while you spent the last 50 years pulling it out of your garden beds and discarding it. The archive opens on the Ozark Plateau around 6,500 years before the Common Era. Archaeologists excavating storage chambers in eastern Oklahoma uncover seeds, carefully separated from surrounding soil debris, deliberately dried, layered in clay-lined chambers, alongside squash and sunflower. Each seed is less than 2 millimeters across, and there are tens of thousands of them. By 1700 BCE, those same seeds appear in storage sites across Kentucky, Tennessee, Illinois, and Missouri. The Eastern Agricultural Complex, as contemporary archaeologists now call it, was the first independent center of plant domestication in eastern North America, predating the arrival of maize from Mexico by 2,000 years. One of its primary domesticated crops was a goosefoot, a chenopodium, so closely related to modern lamb's quarters that the two are now classified as the same plant. The wild form carries a seed coat 60 microns thick, hard enough to remain viable in soil for 40 years. The domesticated form, developed gradually across 3,000 years of deliberate selection by Native American farmers, had a seed coat just 20 microns thick, thin enough to germinate immediately, soft enough to grind into flour without destroying the grinding stone. This is the textbook definition of agricultural domestication. The people who achieved it had no writing system, no draft animals, and no metal tools. They simply possessed the knowledge and patience to pursue it across generations. The same Chenopodium genus was being independently domesticated at the same time on 3 other continents. In the Andes, it became quinoa. In Mexico, it became huazontle. In China, it became hui kai. On the European side, where no soft-coated domesticated variety developed but the wild plant was eaten regardless, it fed peasant populations from the Mediterranean to the Baltic. Pliny the Elder documented it. Roman legions carried it as field rations. Viking longships stored its dried seeds. Jutland Man's stomach is not exceptional. Bog bodies excavated across Denmark, the Netherlands, and Germany consistently show lamb's quarters as the dominant component of Iron Age grain porridge. For 10,000 years, this plant fed the human species across 4 continents. Then, in approximately 1 century, it vanished from American cultural memory entirely. The native North American domesticated variety, Chenopodium berlandieri, subspecies jonesianum, went extinct sometime after 1400 CE. Most archaeologists attribute the loss to the gradual displacement of the Eastern Agricultural Complex by Mesoamerican maize, which produced more calories per acre and stored more reliably through humid summer conditions. 3,000 years of selective breeding were lost permanently. The wild forms survived. European settlers arriving in the 1600s brought their own Chenopodium album seeds with them, the same plant their grandmothers had cooked with in Yorkshire, Bavaria, and Brittany. The two populations interbred across the continent. Lamb's quarters became one of the most widespread plants in colonial American kitchen gardens, eaten as a spring green when cold-stored cabbage was exhausted and before summer crops were established. In April of 1947, the Scotts Company, a lawn products firm based in Marysville, Ohio, initiated the largest direct mail marketing campaign in the history of American horticulture. They were selling a new herbicide product. The active ingredient was 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid, known as 2,4-D. It had been developed during the Second World War by chemists working under contract with the United States War Department, originally designed as a defoliant to destroy Japanese rice crops. The war concluded before the chemical could be deployed militarily. Scotts identified the post-war commercial opportunity. The product was marketed to American homeowners as a selective broadleaf herbicide, capable of eliminating dandelions, plantain, clover, and lamb's quarters while leaving turf grass unaffected. The marketing positioned these plants as enemies of the healthy lawn. By the late 1950s, 2,4-D was the most heavily applied herbicide on American residential properties. By the 1960s, homeowners associations across the country were encoding specific plant prohibitions in their bylaws. Lamb's quarters appeared by name on those lists. It is currently illegal in tens of thousands of American neighborhoods to allow this plant to grow on property you own and pay taxes on. The herbicide industry has since grown to over $40 billion in annual global revenue. The combined weed control market exceeds $74 billion. Lamb's quarters is the single most targeted broadleaf plant on American agricultural land, sprayed by every commercial farmer growing corn or soybeans, killed by atrazine, glyphosate, 2,4-D, and dicamba. A single mature plant produces over 70,000 seeds. Bayer, Syngenta, BASF, and Corteva together generate billions annually selling chemicals designed to defeat what is essentially the most biologically successful annual plant in the temperate world. While American farmers spray lamb's quarters into non-existence, the global leafy greens market sells consumers $95 billion worth of spinach, kale, and lettuce annually. That spinach is trucked from California's Central Valley using irrigation water drawn from the Colorado River, which has now ceased to reach the sea. The kale is washed in chlorinated water, sealed in single-use plastic packaging, and shipped 2,000 miles to grocery stores. By the time it reaches the consumer, a substantial fraction of its vitamin content has been lost to oxidation during transit and storage. Lamb's quarters, growing without cost in the ground beside those spinach fields, requires no irrigation, no fertilizer, no plastic, and no transport whatsoever. In 2009, a research team at the Sam Higginbottom Institute of Agriculture in Allahabad, India, published findings in the peer-reviewed journal Oxidative Medicine and Cellular Longevity. They had tested a methanolic extract of Chenopodium album leaf against two established human breast cancer cell lines, MCF7, the estrogen-dependent model that has served as the standard research reference for hormone-positive breast cancer since the 1970s, and MDA-MB468, the estrogen-independent line used to model the more aggressive triple-negative subtype. The lamb's quarters extract demonstrated cytotoxic activity against both lines. The researchers concluded that the plant warranted further investigation as a potential anti-breast cancer agent. That paper has since been cited dozens of times in subsequent scientific literature. No major Western pharmaceutical company has invested in clinical follow-up. The plant cannot be patented. There is no commercial incentive structure that rewards funding research into a free, uncontrolled, biologically indestructible weed. A powerhouse food study conducted by CDC researcher Jennifer Dinoya, published in Preventing Chronic Disease in 2014, ranked 47 fruits and vegetables by nutrient density per calorie. Watercress scored 100, spinach scored 86, kale scored 49. Lamb's quarters was absent from the list entirely because the CDC does not catalog plants not available through commercial retail channels. By the same methodology Denoya applied to the other foods, lamb's quarters scores higher than all but one item on the list. You can find it tomorrow morning. It establishes itself in any soil disturbed within the past 12 months, provided that soil has not been treated with the herbicides discussed above. Look in untreated garden beds, along the margins of established woodland, or at the edges of organic pasture. The leaves are diamond-shaped and light green on the upper surface, with the underside dusted in a fine white powder that brushes off when rubbed between your fingers. That powder, called farina, is the single most reliable distinguishing feature, separating lamb's quarters from every visual look-alike. Cook the young leaves as you would spinach. 2 minutes in boiling water, drain, then sauté in olive oil with garlic. The flavor is milder than spinach, slightly sweet without bitterness. The seeds, harvested in late summer, can be ground into flour or prepared exactly like quinoa, its domesticated cousin. In India, bathua is folded into flatbreads and stuffed into dumplings. In Mexico, quelites are scrambled with eggs. In China, hui kai is stir-fried with ginger. If you live in a community with an HOA, exercise quiet discretion. Harvest a few leaves at a time from the back of your property, rinse them, and eat them. The plant is not protected, not endangered, and will return next year regardless of what you do. In the late 1980s, the preserved head of Tollen man was placed on permanent display at the Silkeborg Museum in Denmark. The body had partially deteriorated during the early conservation process in the 1950s, but the head and the stomach contents had been successfully preserved. Visitors today stand before a 2,400-year-old face, still possessing eyelashes, and read the laboratory analysis of his last meal on a small bronze plaque mounted beside him. He ate lamb's quarters porridge. The same plant grows along the railway embankment directly outside the museum. The Eastern Agricultural Complex disappeared from American memory by 1500. The domesticated native variety went extinct by 1400. The Scots Company began selling 2,4-D in 1947. Lamb's quarters has been sprayed, pulled, and condemned as a weed for so long that most Americans have never once tasted it. It is growing in your driveway right now. We did not lose lamb's quarters. We simply decided to poison it instead of eat it. If this vault opened something for you, subscribe to Lost Homestead Vault and hit the notification bell. Every like and every share preserves what they tried to erase.